Hi there, and it's the 1st of March, and it's a fairly standard day for 2026. It's drizzly, miserable rain down here on the south coast of England, but the upside is it's the day that the blue classic LEGO Spaceman is released at the LEGO store. So I'm down here at the West Quay Centre. It's an hour before the store actually opens, so I'm going to head inside and see if there's a queue yet. So the doors from the underground car park weren't open yet, so I've walked myself around to the pedestrian entrance, which is actually right by the LEGO store itself, and you can see there's a pretty big crowd building up already. It's only 10 past 10, the store doesn't open till 11 o'clock, and I imagine most of these people will be heading towards the LEGO store when the doors finally open. And we're off. So you can see there's a little queue over there outside the door, and then we've now been funneled into this little queuing system here. I'll try and work out roughly how many people are ahead of me. And who should be ahead of me in the queue? Then about 6 people in front is Brick Bargains there, so I know he's here to get a blue classic spaceman. And way over there somewhere is also Ian's Brick. So we've got two fellow YouTubers in the queue. He's way behind me. I hope there's still blue spaceman for him if he's after one, but I'm sure Brick Bargains me will be getting one. So plenty of blue spacemen, I've got one. I'm just going to get a few other bits and then I'll head off home. So Brick Bargains, there's 6 people in front of me in the queue. Have you got your spaceman?
There he is.
Fine, they've still got a few over there. I've got mine too. Look.
50 of them. Oh, you got one as well? You don't need one. You've already built one, haven't you?
Yeah, not in blue though. So yeah, I'm going to compare my white one with the blue one. What else you got?
The Batman logo.
Very cool.
Or sign or whatever you want to call it.
Super duper.
Yeah. But you're going to buy it for me, aren't you?
No. Maybe not.
Okay, so good to see you, mate.
Nice seeing you too, mate. Bye.
Be a bit carnage.
Yeah, Ian's here somewhere as well, so we need to see. He's way back in the queue though. I think his alarm didn't go off or something.
Right, see you in a bit.
See ya. So the other set I'm after is the new City F1 set, which we've got the new Audi out today. So it's a display truck with an Audi F1 car, and that matches all the other F1 cars that have come out last year. So I'm going to get that set too. And you can see how perfectly the colour scheme of that truck matches the F1 truck that I got last year with 2 other cars in it. I need to buy one other thing to get the gift with purchase, and I'm considering getting the LEGO City Airport set. I really want to get this and modify it, make it slightly larger and enclose it. So I'm thinking maybe that's the set I get today. So the other big launch today is obviously the LEGO Smart Bricks. They put in lots of Star Wars sets. Now I don't buy much LEGO Star Wars anymore, but there are a few cool minifigures which come in these sets. So in the Jedi training set based on Dagobah, you've got a muddy version of R2-D2 there. Also in the massive throne room set, it's got an A-Wing, and I think this is a brand new A-Wing pilot minifigure. And they're busily demonstrating the new sets to various people and showing what the Smart Brick can do with its new lights and sounds. So also walking around the store, we've got 2 Mandalorians. I presume they're here to get the new Smart Play sets themselves. So I've made my purchases. I'm going to take these back to the car and head home. But walking out of the shop, I have noticed they've still got loads of classic blue spaceman left. So yes, it's been a popular set. I've seen this display go down to 0 and be restocked twice now. So popular set, but thankfully they had lots of stock of it. So back home, and just before I open up that spaceman and show you briefly the other sets I bought, a very quick shout out to all my channel members. Thank you so much for your support, it really does help the channel out. And if anyone else is interested in becoming a channel member and getting your name and a brick in my videos, you can click on the join button below this video or the link in the description, and that'll tell you how. Or alternatively, if you're buying from lego.com, please use my affiliate link in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything, but Lego give me a tiny commission on everything that people buy. But also just watching, sharing and subscribing helps build my channel and fund my projects. But let's take a look at what I got at the LEGO store. So firstly, of course, you saw it in the video, I was there specifically to get the upscale blue astronaut. And also, as I showed you at the store, the other 1st of March release that I really wanted to get was this F1 display truck with the Audi F1 car. I really love the LEGO City F1 cars, and I made a video about those when they were released last year, and I modified the 4+ versions to look like the rest of the series. And like I said, this display truck really matches that massive truck I got last year with the other 2 cars inside. So I'm really looking forward to building this one. I also got 2 gifts with purchase. Firstly, that mic front row F1 car, which was the F1 Academy car, but the gift with purchase I really wanted to get was this other one, which is 40906, and it's the first in a new series called Restaurants of the World, and this one's for the country of Japan. And I'm really hoping this is going to be a long-running series to give me some great food stalls for my Lego city. Just before I left, I also found out there were 3 new minifigures on the Build a Minifig Tower, and being a massive fan and collector of minifigures, I had to get all 3 of those. So we've got someone dressed up as a flower, someone dressed up as a chick, and someone dressed up as a mushroom, all very spring and Easter related. And because the Spaceman and the F1 car weren't quite enough to get me the Restaurant of the World gift with purchase, I did get the new Lego City Airport set. And I really want to at some point modify that and expand it. And the easiest way to do that would be to buy 2 of them. But firstly, I'm going to build this one at some point and see how it's set up, and then either wait around for a big discount to get a second version, or just buy the separate parts to expand it. But enough about the other sets, let's get that blue Spaceman open. So I've got 8 numbered bags, a very thick instruction book with a picture of a lovely blue spaceman on the front, and a total of 793 pieces. So this is going to take quite a while to build, even in time-lapse, so I'm not going to film the entire build, but I will show you in stages as I go along. And bag 1 starts building the torso, and just like all the other upscale minifigures, it's got that great gearing which gives this Technic axle a lot of friction, which means you can pose his arms in any position. The only difference I can see between this and the other upscale minifigures is this part here is 3 1x4 bricks, whereas on previous upscale minifigures it's been a 1x4x3 panel. So it's on to bag 2. And bag 2 includes that all-important printed panel piece, which looks absolutely amazing. So bag 2 finishes off the torso, and it also builds the hips, so they can be inserted into each other. And then we've got the body, we just need a head, arms, legs. Oh, and of course the air tanks. One thing that I was interested to see is that they've built the neck strap of the air tanks in exactly the same way as I built the grey ones for my upscaled space buggy. You can see the quarter circles, the 1x2 curved bricks, and then the 1x1s on the end. Now for the 1x1s, they've used these arch bricks here, you can see with the plates sticking underneath that 1x4. Whereas on mine, I used just regular 1x1 arch pieces. And I'm not sure if you watched that video. However, when this piece came out, it was only ever in one Star Wars set. Now at the time of building this, it cost about £2.50, and it was the most expensive one singular piece that I bought for the entire build. On the side of the torso, you have got these 2 black plates showing. Now it's difficult to see, but they're the end of a black bracket which goes along and inside, and on previous builds that has been body coloured. You can see here with the racing driver that is white. However, the top one was black, but that one gets completely hidden when you add the arm on. Like that. So unless there is an incredibly clever plan later on in the instructions, this black plate will get hidden. However, this one, it looks like it's going to be showing, which I think it'll be a bit sad. But unlike other upscale minifigures, the back of this torso has been left completely open. And you can see we've got some Technic bricks, obviously where the air tanks are going to attach. But moving on, bag 3. And bag 3 gives us his right leg. And first thing to note is that unlike the racing driver, they don't give us a 1x6 tile to smooth off his toes. We've still got studs there. But the main thing to note is that the attachment method is completely different to previous minifigures. Before, we've had this Technic assembly, which gets squashed together like that. And then on the new version, we've obviously got a Technic pin on this side and an axle on the other side. So if we put those 2 together, that means on this version of the new minifigure, we've now got a ratchet system. So you can see the minifigure, you can stop that leg in any one of the positions as it ratchets up, whereas the previous versions were there was enough friction to hold them in place, but they were a little bit more loose. I think I actually prefer this system. It's a nice idea, makes the legs more sturdy, and I think it's going to make it easier to pose. So bag 3 was the right leg. I'm guessing bag 4 is going to be the left leg. And yes, it's another leg. And I've just realised, kind of made a mistake. If this is where his air tanks are going to go, I think his legs might be on backwards. And yes, that looks a lot better. And with 8 bags in total, we're on to bag 5, so we're halfway through. And with pieces like this, I'm guessing bag 5 is going to be one of his arms. So I way underestimated bag 5. It wasn't an arm, it was both arms and both hands. And now he looks like this, or more accurately, like this. 3 bags to go, and we're on to number 6. And we've got curved panels, so this has got to be the air tanks. And we have our air tanks, and these are 5x5 cylinders. And it does make my 4x4 cylinders look incredibly tiny. But they've built a really nice locking mechanism, so we've got 2 Technic pins, which is obviously going to go into this Technic brick here. We've got a plate and a tile, which is going to sit in this slot up here, and another plate with a tile, which is going to rest on this tile down here. So we're going to put those in like this, and they click into place really nicely. Now I'll do a proper comparison when the Spaceman's finished, but here you can briefly see a comparison between Lego's air tanks, my air tanks, and the ones from the Spaceman I downloaded from Rebrickable. 2 bags to go, number 7, we're nearly there. So that was the start of the head and the helmet. And with Lego's other minifigures, where we've seen the full side of the head, they've used the 4x6 curved panel in just plain yellow, the same one as they used for the printed face on the front. But as with the Octan racing driver, because we don't see the full side of the face, they're just using this 2x4 curved slope. And you can see on the Spaceman, half of that slope is actually covered up by the helmet. Whereas on the Octan racing driver, you got a lot more of the side of his face, and we also had a 1x4 tile down the side. So with one more bag to go, let's get the head and helmet finished. And we have a really good looking finished head and helmet. And the more times I click this guy's legs to make him sit down, the more I am liking the new version of the legs. But the helmet's got a red Technic axle, and that just pops inside like that. And we've got our finished Spaceman. And just before we compare the blue and the white Spaceman, a very quick update on the blue Space Baby. And if you saw my video from a few weeks ago when I made the blue Space Baby, you'll know that the 3x3 quarter dome piece that gets used in Lego's helmet for their upscale Space Baby doesn't exist in blue. So to replace their 3x3 by 2 bricks high quarter dome, I used a 3x3 by 1 brick high quarter dome, and then I added 3 of these 3x3 wedge plates underneath it to give it its height. However, you can see it gives it a very different look and not really a classic space helmet shape. But shortly after making that video, I came across this piece, which is a 3x3 quarter octagon piece. Now this only came in a couple of colours, but it did come in blue. Now no one sells these brand new anymore, and there are very few used parts as well on Bricklink in the UK, but I managed to get my hands on 4 of them. So if you take version 1 helmet off, we'll take those 3 quarter dome pieces off and get rid of them. We can add 4 of these new quarter octagon pieces. They don't quite marry up with the curved slopes. However, when it's finished, I think it gives a much better shape for the helmet. And up close, I think the discrepancy between the octagon and the curved bricks is much preferable to the previous version. So we have Blue Spaceman and Blue Space Baby together at last. But let's take a look at the comparisons between the blue and my white one. Now I thought the proportions of the white Spaceman, which I downloaded from Rebrickable, was fairly well proportioned. But if you look, the difference in head and helmet size is actually massive. So the blue helmet is a clear 2 bricks bigger than the white one. And if you look at an actual Spaceman, yes, I think his helmet does stick out ever so slightly wider than his shoulders, but not quite as much as our new blue upscaled one does. And you can see it is significantly wider than the width of his shoulders, whereas the white one is only about 1 tile width wider. On our blue chin strap, we've also got this being 2 studs wide, whereas on the white one it's only 1, and I'll let you decide which one you think is more accurate to the original minifigure. On the white version, we've got a completely studless side to the helmet. We do have that turntable piece, which is meant to be replicating that dimple used to get on the old 80s helmets. Whereas on the blue version, we've got 2 studs up here and 2 studs down there. Now the first one up here, that could easily be replaced with 2 plates and a tile to smooth that out. And to replace the studs down here, we could replicate this in mirror to use that 1x2 curved slope here and get the opposite piece to put down here, and then change that 1x1 tile for a 1x2 tile. Then we've got a sort of symmetrical helmet, and that would lose the studs as well. Now the blue Spaceman's helmet is obviously vastly over-engineered, and that's because you can take the top part off and see that little space robot who's driving him inside. We can take him out, and lots of people have suggested that this is also something that I need to build in upscale. But because of the way it's built, one thing which I think is really sad is that the head doesn't actually rotate at all. On the previous Octan racing driver, his head could rotate, and I really do think that is a fairly essential feature of an upscaled minifigure. My white version does rotate. That's using exactly the same mechanism as the previous upscaled minifigures from Lego themselves. And then of course we come on to the neck bracket and the air tanks. Now, like I said, I really do like the way they've done the neck bracket on here. It's exactly how I did with my grey version, and I think it's much preferable to the flat version that they used in the white one. If you were following my channel when I built my upscaled space buggy and the white spaceman, you may remember that I bought these instructions off Rebrickable just because I didn't have the time to get him built for my first show, because the space buggy was taking so long to get finished. But looking at actual air tanks, you can see that the two cylinders do actually meet in the middle, which just like Lego have done in this version and like I did in my grey version. However, we've got this 2x brick gap in between these two on the white version, and it's something that I never really liked. So if I continue to make other upscaled spacemen, I think I'm going to end up doing some kind of a hybrid of the air tanks. I do like the neck strapped with using the curved bricks and rounded bricks. However, I don't like the gap in the middle between these two air tanks. However, I don't like the 5x5 cylinders on the Lego official one. And like I said with the toes, instead of having studs we can put tiles on there, we could do the same around the neck bracket. It would be very easy to replace these plates with modified plates, those 2x2 with tile on one side and studs on the other. We could run them along here and then have tiles in the corner, and we could completely lose all those studs and we give it a much nicer look. And then instead of fixing the head on with a Technic axle, it would be just as easy to use a rotating 4x4 turntable piece, and then his head would be able to rotate. But having just said that, no it wouldn't, because they've built the air tanks so close to the back of the helmet that even if we did have it on a turntable, I think they would foul up on this piece back here. And that's where a smaller helmet would rotate, because we'd have a curve all the way round instead of having this flattened out bit at the back of the helmet. So this new set has certainly given me a lot to think about, and it's great that this upscaled space family is starting to grow, and I definitely think it is something that needs to grow further. Since building my upscaled space buggy, I have had an awful lot of comments from people saying I need to build every spaceman is awesome, but in 6:1 upscale. But that would obviously be an absolutely mammoth project, and I do have the upscaled snack bar to build first. I'd be very interested to hear your comments on the preferences between these two upscaled spacemen. Like I said, I really do like the new legs on this minifigure. It does make him a lot more easy to pose, and if I'm building upscaled minifigures in the future, I think that's definitely going to be the leg version which I use. If I ever want him to sit on the upscaled space buggy, I am going to have to modify his legs to give him anti-studs so he can sit on the studded surface. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up and share it around. It really helps my channel out. And if you'd like to support the channel, you could consider becoming a channel member and getting your name on a brick in my videos, or use my affiliate link for lego.com in the description below. But above everything else, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe for more Lego videos.